Hey guys, how are we getting on today? So today we're here with Niamh Collins. Niamh is a life coach. She's also been running some events, some charity events, which have been pretty cool as well. So Niamh, welcome. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thanks for having me.
No bother at all. So yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself. What is it you do?
At the moment, I've recently qualified as a life coach. My main goal in life, I suppose, and my main vision would really be moving people forward, getting them the best out of people, getting the most out of people. As I've recently and going many years back felt very stuck in life and just felt
Yeah.
like there was hurdles that I couldn't overcome. Through actually going to life coaches myself, I've realised that I've had all the answers rooted just deep within somewhere. So yeah, that's kind of the goal at the
Yeah.
moment. It's the vision, yeah.
Cool, cool. And I suppose that's the thing with a lot of people is a lot of people have those blockages, have those fears, have things that they want to get over, but they all have the answers within them.
Definitely. And it's frightening. Like any hurdle is scary, you're not
Yeah,
going to come to any jump and just automatically think that you can jump over it. But when you do realize that, like, if you dig deep enough, that answer is really inside in you. And, I suppose as a life coach, and you know this yourself, you're really only there to sit with them.
yeah,
Um, it's all in you. Just
yeah,
like it was all in me, to move myself forward. So yeah.
yeah. Cool, cool. So what, like I suppose taking a bit of a step back, what was kind of life like for you as a teenager when you're growing up?
Growing up for me was quite difficult. Now, I think if you asked anybody about me, they would say that I was very happy, the life and soul of the party, always willing up for the crack. But for me, I was very down inside growing up. I carried an extra 6 stone all through my teenage years. Really lacked in, while I was self confident on the outside, my self esteem was completely and utterly shattered. I didn't have it. The doors would close, I'd go in home, and I was just a raging lunatic basically. I was very angry, I was very cross with the world, I was cross with myself, couldn't stick to any plans, yet I had no motivation, I suppose, or no right direction, no
Yeah,
confidence to go to the gym or to speak up a little bit. And yeah, it was hard. It was really,
yeah.
really hard. Um, yeah,
And in around kind of like you were saying there about having no self-esteem, but yet when you went out, you were the life and soul of a party.
yeah.
Was that kind of a mask? Do you
Oh,
think it was?
completely,
Yeah.
yeah. And you know what? It's a mask that I've only literally taken off about 6 months ago, and like that's a long time. That's a lot of wasted years. That I'm sure many people have. Like I'm 30 now, but I've had all of these feelings of low self-esteem and lack
Yeah.
of confidence since I can remember, since 11, 12, 13,
Yeah.
14. With all that, my weight grew and my weight crept up, and the self-esteem went lower as my weight got higher, and it was just like a hamster wheel, the hamster on a wheel. It was just forever going, moving around. But I thought, the happier I am, the less it'll be. Everybody loves me, it's fine. We'll make
Right.
everybody laugh. And, that's the way life went.
And how did that, I suppose, having low self-esteem and stuff, did that affect you going through school?
Definitely,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I actually, just something came to me there now. I remember we were in TY and we were doing a school play, and we all had to sing a little piece of a song, and it was kind of compulsory that you just gave it a blast and you went on. And I remember the teachers actually saying, God, you have a very powerful voice, we'll call you back in a minute for a certain piece of the play. And we all went down, we all sat down, and I felt a little burst of kind of happiness. I was like, oh yes, oh my God, this is brilliant. And then they were picking people out for, say, Steve was the part of the
Yeah.
play. And could anyone that we said yes to Steve come forward? And I remember just sitting there, and I really wanted to get up and go, but I was like, no, I'll just sit here now. P, I found exceptionally hard. I just always stayed back and stayed out of it. And just again, just limiting myself because I didn't have that confidence and that low self esteem to put myself out there a little bit, I suppose. It was easier to be the joker.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was easier to be the
So
joker
just
than
to,
to be
just to mask
judged.
yourself the whole
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
And even like when you were saying you were carrying around that extra weight and stuff, did you ever get picked on or bullied over that at all?
Yeah, I did. And you know what? Again, it was never really dealt with. I never acknowledged it until I have a handsome 4-year-old boy who got a DVD for Christmas last year called Flubber. And I remember that's what I was called in school, was Flubber. And I remember seeing the DVD and like all these emotions like that had obviously been suppressed and never been dealt with just rising to surface, and like that whole day was just completely ruined. And I suppose it could have been not avoided, but it could have been made easier if I had, at that 15-year-old girl, said something about it or
Yeah.
tried to do something. But I think it was hard then, and I think it's a lot harder now because you do have social media and stuff. Like when I went in home after being called all of these names, the door closed and I didn't really have to carry it inside with me.
Yeah.
I was able to cry about it and feel sorry for myself. I was comfort eating, I was secret eating, you know, doing all of the wrong things instead of speaking up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that's really important as well, because like a lot of people are going through that. A lot of people are lacking self-esteem, lacking confidence in themselves, lacking connection with themselves. And it can go down that same path you went of that emotional eater.
Oh, big time, yeah. And just anything to stop the pain.
Yeah.
Anything to, it wasn't even really a restriction thing because I wasn't restricting because I was heavier, but it was just anything that would numb the pain, just take it away. The initial kind of release of that feel good factor of shoveling food into your mouth, and it literally would take it away for a second, and then you have to deal with, great, now you're just after eating another packet of biscuits and a share bag of potatoes and all of this food that now you have to carry this around with. So then you have this guilt on top of everything else, and all the time you're just pushing and pushing and pushing everything down, and it's going to come to surface in one way, shape or form. It always does, I think, doesn't it? Yeah.
And when did you actually start to take on the journey of making a change for yourself?
My journey has been quite up and down. I never really sat into it. Most recently, in kind of the last year, I suppose, my mental health really took a nosedive. And I had to go right back to that 12-year-old girl who was eating the packet of biscuits in the kitchen while everyone was asleep, and start from there. And while it was hard, it's most definitely been worth it. But I think that's the message that I want to get across today, is that, it doesn't have to be like this. You don't have to carry it for the 15 years. There is help there, and there's so much confidential help there as well. I think a lot of teens think now by speaking up and saying that they're getting a bit picked on, or they've been, and bullying in any way, shape or form is bullying. It doesn't have to be physical. It doesn't have to be ongoing for a long time. Anywhere where you feel uncomfortable or you leave a situation feeling sad, there's help there for that. So yeah, really in the last year, I kind of said, I can't live like this forever. And it's not a life that I want for Alex either.
Yeah.
Things change when you have kids, but it's definitely not a life. And while the initial change was for him, the benefits for me have been
Incredible.
oh my God, yeah.
It's amazing how many people are actually going through that kind of depression state and feeling bad about themselves.
Yeah.
Because I did a survey that went out to a load of parents, and it came back, it was almost 60% of parents say their child has gone through bullying, and almost 45% are going through some sort of mental health issue.
I just think that's so sad. It's sad because growing up is hard enough, growing like all of these things that come at you, like you have to decide your whole life in fifth year, never mind do it with all of these extra issues, and like you're fighting for a place in the world, you're fighting for a place in college, you're fighting for a place in this group that's formed, you're fighting for a place in the rugby team, you're fighting for a place in the soccer, the taekwondo, whatever. And I think we fail to realise when we're that age is that we all have a place. And it shouldn't be that much of a fight. Like if a group in school doesn't feel right, it's not right. You don't have to continuously alter yourself to try and fit in. And that's not a thing that was just in school. I was doing that up until about 6 months ago. If I didn't like the colour black and someone said, oh, I love the colour black, I'd be like, me too. Black's my favourite colour. I love it. And this altering yourself to be somebody that you don't really want to be, I just think it has to stop, and we need to realise that like we all do have a place, and it's not just teenagers, it's me, it's you, it's Alex, it's everybody.
No, I think that's really important to start to focus on being yourself rather than trying to be someone else. And just because someone else might be popular or someone else might attract in different people, it doesn't mean that you have to be around those people as well. Because you mightn't have the traits that someone else has. Maybe you have a lot better traits, but it's just about bringing them to surface and actually living that person.
Definitely.
Rather than trying to push yourself to live someone else, because you're not that other person, so you're not going to be aligned to walk in other person's shoes.
So true.
So why not just come back to yourself, refocus on yourself, find out what excites you, what are the things that you're passionate about, because when you connect to them, the path for you will be much easier moving forward.
So true, yeah. And I mean, everyone has something incredible inside them. We all have something in us that can benefit ourselves and everybody else. It's just we fail to see that because we want to be like X, Y, and Z. And it just goes back to the whole comparison thing. And we all still do it. And like a certain element of comparison, I suppose, can be healthy because it might make you want to be a better you or work towards a goal. But I kind of always say, and I still do this to myself, I still would talk to myself, and I could look at somebody, because it's a natural thing to do, is to compare yourself, you know, and I'll say, okay, all right, Niamh, but what is it about that person that you want? Like 9 times out of 10, I don't actually want that. And the other time it's unrealistic, or then there's a time where I can be like, okay, yeah, I could achieve it with a little bit of extra work, or I can work towards being a better version of me, not being them.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's the thing as well, like there's no limit to how far you can go with becoming the better version of yourself.
Oh.
Because there's always things that you can work on, there's always new things you can learn, new skills you can develop, and it's just figuring out what those things are for you and then working on them for you and moving forward. And I think I think, like for me anyway, personally, I did when I was a teenager, I didn't understand any of that stuff. I suffered with low self-esteem as well. I hated my parents, I hated who I was. And I was a person to always try and get in trouble just to be trying to notice by people. That was my way of saying, oh, that I'm popular, or people like me, because I'd always get myself in trouble all the time. But again, it was just a mask, really. Because for me, I was just a very quiet, shy person, and I hated who I was. And I think at that time as well, if I had some direction, or if I had someone telling me, you know, you need to do this or this and you can help yourself move forward, it would have been
so important. And you do, like, I mean, I took up smoking when I was 13 simply to fit in. You know,
I was 11 when I started.
You know, simply to fit in, like, and then when I kind of came out of it and years later and I joined the gym and stuff, I was literally able to just catch the box of fags and throw them in the bin. So I was never addicted to them. It was just a social thing. It was just to be there, and a bit of a crutch, I suppose, and you have a mask and you have something to hold on to. But like that, you take up these things and you do these things simply to fit in.
100%. And it all comes back to that, what we were saying about connecting to you and who you truly are. Because when you do that, then you don't care about all these other things. So you know, when you are walking as who you're meant to be, then you're going to attract other people around you, and people will like you for you.
And they'll, you know what, you'll inspire people as well. Like, I love dancing, and it's one of your questions on your website just reminded me of this, is I love dancing. I've always loved it. If music comes on, I find it hard to stay still. And through life coaching, recently I figured out that I was 9 years old the last time I danced properly. I joined a dance class and got called fat at the dance class. And I it just stuck with me. It just kind of always stayed there. And the only reason we figured out was because Britney Spears' Hit Me Baby One More Time was the song that we were dancing to. So I was able to calculate the years and go back. And it actually shocked me that it was that long ago that I've carried that with me all through the time. So that was however many years ago. And on Saturday I done my first Zumba class and loved it. But like, I'm 31, like I could have been dancing I could be a professional dancer. But you know, and it's just never too late. If you are at a stage where you do feel stuck and you are kind of worried and you are in a situation where you're not really enjoying any form of physical activity, or you're not enjoying anything, it's never too late to kind of say, who am I? Like, what do I really like to do? Well, I really like dancing, so I'm going to try Zumba class. I was diabolical at it, but I thought I was J-Lo the minute the music came on, you know. I was like, no, and I was self-conscious, and I was kind of a bit, because it was new, and it was new to me, and it was something that I had avoided for so long. But I just, like you said, bring it back into yourself and just give yourself a little bit of positive self-talk, and, you know, be rooting for yourself, be your own cheerleader.
And what would you kind of say to people that may have been going through the same thing you were going, if they have that self confidence against themselves, and if they are going through being bullied and being picked on and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's hard. Like I couldn't take that away from the whole scenario. Like
Yeah.
it's really, really hard. There is help out there. There's people like Steve who are creating an incredible platform for teenagers who I'm completely in awe of, because I think it's just something that really needs to be done. Like we all hit this age and we desperately start seeking for help, and like you're coming in at a really important age. That bracket of teenage years where you can really become your own best friend, and it can be done. I'm currently working with a girl as well who has been through all of it, and she realizes that a lot of it she was allowing them. Like you are allowing people to treat you this way, and I know that's easier said than done, because in school if you stand up to the bully then you think that everything's going to go backwards on you, or if you go look for help you think that you're going to be picked on even further. But bullies will get sick of being the bully. You know, they'll just move on. Stand up for yourself, set boundaries, speak to somebody. Doesn't always have to be a parent, but there is people that do want to help you. There's people like myself, like Steve, who've experienced all of these feelings and emotions, and we really don't want to see people go through this anymore. Like we really don't want to see all of you who are watching this in 10 or 15 years time say, God, why didn't I just stand up for myself that day? Because if I did, I be your own pillar. Like we look around for other pillars of strength, it has to come down to you. Like the foundation starts in you.